Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a review, demo and first impression on the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. I'm really excited to try this one out. I've been wanting to pick it up for quite a while. I did purchase this a couple of months ago and I finally got it shipped to me this week, so I had to do a review, a demo and a first impression for you guys to see how this foundation looks and who I would recommend to use it. I have seen really good reviews for this foundation. I do have dry skin, so I'm always on the lookout for a foundation that's going to be really hydrating and glowing on the skin, and this one is a water foundation, so it is meant to be very hydrating and moisturizing on the skin. So I was really excited to pick this one up and try it out. I did really want to try this out for myself and show you guys some tips and tricks on how to apply this foundation using both a brush and a beauty blender to see how it would look on the skin. So I've just pulled up some information about this foundation on the website, and it does say that it is a lightweight hydrating foundation infused with Tarte Rainforest of the Sea complex. It delivers the ultimate hydrating boosting coverage with Tarte's 12-hour water foundation. This foundation features 20% water to quench dry skin as it covers and masks any redness, dark spots and uneven skin tone while softening the look of pores and fine lines. The custom dropper applicator delivers you a perfect level of moisture-rich coverage in an array of shades to match any skin tone. So this foundation does come in 12 shades, which is quite a good range. I do hope that they expand it a little bit more just so there's more of a range for darker skin tones, and that way there will be a shade to match absolutely anybody who's wanting to try out this foundation. I was really drawn to the foundation because of the fact that it had 20% water, and it says that it quenches dry skin with lots of hydration. So myself having dry skin, I'm always on the lookout for more hydrating, glowing foundations, so I really wanted to try this one out for you guys to show you how the foundation looked and the amount of coverage it gave and the overall wear of the foundation. I absolutely love the packaging of this foundation. It's got this frosted glass bottle and the really pretty ombre coloured bottle top. I absolutely love this. It's got this dropper at the top of the bottle, so you pump down at the top of it a couple of times and that enables the product to go up the dropper, and then you just press the top button again and it just releases a few drops at a time of the foundation. So this is a really innovative idea for foundation. The packaging is absolutely beautiful and the way that you dispense the foundation is really unique. So I've been wanting to try one of these type of foundations with the little dropper in it, so this will be the first one I'm trying out and hopefully I really like it. In the video today I'm also going to review the AQUACEALER concealer as well, because I thought this would go really well with the foundation and I just wanted to see how they would work together. So while I'm reviewing the water foundation, I also thought I would do the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea AQUACEALER concealer. I've also pulled up some information on this one, and it says it is a lightweight 12-hour concealing serum offering buildable medium coverage with skin soothing benefits. So this is meant to be quite a lightweight concealer. Being more of a serum, it's going to be a little bit more of a watery consistency, but I'm hoping that it's still going to cover really nicely on the skin. It says this concealer masks imperfections while sealing in radiance and hydration. With this buildable medium coverage concealing serum, it features concentrated levels of pigments suspended in a deep conditioning serum made up of 20% water to deliver the coverage you desire and the moisture your skin craves. So this one also has 20% water, which is amazing. I can't wait to see what this looks like. I'm really hoping it's going to work for me, and that way I can use this on more of a regular daily basis. So if you'd like to see a review, demo and first impression on the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation and also the AQUACEALER concealer, then please keep watching. So I'm going to start by applying the Too Faced Hangover X primer. This is a very moisturising primer. I do have dry skin, so I really like to use more of a moisturising primer before applying my foundation. That way my skin is nice and hydrated and I don't tend to get any dryness on the skin or any patchiness, so this is definitely one of my favourite primers. Apply that all over the skin, just massaging it in. And now I'm going to apply the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. I am using the shade Medium Tan Sand. I'm going to apply half on one side of the face with a beauty blender and the other half with a brush, just to see how the application works for both and how it looks on the skin. Just going to press a couple of drops onto the back of my hand. And I'm just going to spray my beauty blender with some Fix Plus. And I'm just just going to start blending that out on the skin. I like to use pouncing motions just so the foundation blends really evenly on the skin and I don't get any patchiness or anything. I am finding this is quite a light coverage foundation. So on the days where you want just a very natural look to the skin, I think this foundation would be really good. So you can still see a bit of redness and blemishes coming through the skin, so it is a very thin consistency foundation and very lightweight coverage, so I could apply a little bit more to build up the coverage, but I am going to use some concealer as well, so I think I'll just leave it quite natural and then see how it looks with the concealer on top. But using the Beauty Blender, it does give a really nice dewiness to the skin, so having dry skin I definitely like to look a little bit more glowy and dewy, so using a Beauty Blender definitely achieves that with this foundation. And now for the second side of the skin, I'm going to use a brush, and this is the Real Techniques buffing brush. And I do like to press this into the skin with the brush more so than blending it in circles. I just find you get a little bit more coverage and it prevents the foundation from going patchy. I am finding I'm getting a bit more coverage using the brush, so if you are wanting a bit more of a medium to full coverage, I think using the brush is going to achieve that a little bit better than the Beauty Blender. So now you can see the difference between the Beauty Blender and using a brush. So I'm finding the Beauty Blender side to be a little bit more less coverage, a bit more natural. The Beauty Blender does soak up a little bit more of the product. So with this particular foundation, I find it gives quite a natural light coverage, whereas using the brush, I've definitely got a bit more coverage on this side, more of a medium, building up to full coverage. So I'm really liking the finish of the foundation. It's got a nice subtle dewiness to it, so I think that's really nice. I think it would be suitable for all skin types. You just need to set your face with a powder if you do have more oily skin, just so it's not going to look too dewy. But so far I really like the finish and I like the colour of this one. It's blending quite nicely down into my tan, so far so good. I am going to apply some of the matching AQUACEALER concealer to see how it works with this foundation, and then I'll set my face to see the final result of how this foundation looks. So next I'm using the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea AQUACEALER concealer. I'm using this in the shade Light Medium, so this one's going to highlight a bit on the skin as well as conceal under the eyes. So it's got the same little coloured bottle, but this one has a doe foot applicator. It's quite a large doe foot applicator, so this is going to be a really easy applicator to use to apply the concealer on the skin. I'm just going to apply some under the eye area. And just down the centre of the face as well. Conceal any of these blemishes on the side of the face. I'm going to use my Beauty Blender to blend out this side of the face, and then I'll use a brush to blend out the other side. It does feel like a very, very lightweight concealer. It was quite a watery application on the skin. It's blending out really effortlessly with the Beauty Blender. I'm finding this is just giving a very, very natural light coverage under the eyes. So I think if you do have quite dark circles, this might not be enough coverage to cover those, but if you're just wanting something very natural, very lightweight, I find that this concealer is really nice. And it's very hydrating. I'm not finding it drying out under my eye area at all and causing any creasing. So far I really like the application using the Beauty Blender. So now I will do the other side using a brush to see how that looks too. I'm going to use this little Real Techniques contour brush to blend out the concealer on the other side of the skin. So once again I am finding I'm getting a bit more coverage using the brush it's not soaking up as much product as the Beauty Blender does. And you can just see it's a little bit more brighter on the skin, as opposed to this side's kind of blending a bit more into my skin. This side's looking a little bit more highlighted and brighter. I do think this has a really nice coverage. It has covered all the redness and blemishes I had around this area, so I think that's really nice. It doesn't feel very heavy or cakey on the skin, so I really like that. And I really love how it's not drying out under the eyes and causing any creasing. So far I'm really happy with this concealer. If I was wanting to go for a very highlighted, bright look, I probably wouldn't use this concealer just because it's a little bit more thin and watery. For more of a natural looking concealer, I really love this one so far. So now I'm just going to set those areas with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. And I'm just using the banana shade here to set those areas under the eyes and down the center of the face. I'm just going to use that same Real Techniques contour brush. Finding that this powder isn't settling on the skin too much and it isn't looking too dry on top of the concealer, so finding that's working really nicely. And so there's the finished look with the powder on top. I'm really quite happy with the coverage of this foundation. At first I thought it was going to be quite light coverage, and if you do get a bit more redness or blemishes, it's not going to cover too well. But once I applied the concealer on top and a little bit of powder, I think it's given a really nice natural finish but still has enough coverage. It is feeling very lightweight. I don't feel like I've got a lot of product sitting on my skin. It definitely doesn't feel too heavy or too cakey. So that's a really good thing, and then that also means I'm not using too much product at a time, so the foundation is going to last quite a long time. I'm actually really liking the finish of this. I am going to do the rest of my makeup and then I'll come back and show you how it looks. So I finished the rest of my makeup, and I have to say I really like the coverage that this foundation gives. It's a really nice thin consistency, that way you're not wearing a heap of makeup, and also throughout the day your makeup's not going to start separating and getting patchy or anything from being too full coverage. I really like this foundation. I think I'm going to be wearing it more on an everyday basis, and I just think it looks really nice and natural and dewy, glowing on the skin, which I love having more dry skin. I have been looking for a new light coverage foundation or tinted moisturiser, so I think I've found one that I like. So I am going to go out for lunch with some friends at the moment, and then I'm going to the shops to run a few errands, so I'll be coming back in a couple of hours and I'll update you guys on how the foundation felt throughout the day and then how it's looking towards the end of the day as well. So I've just got back from being out for a couple of hours, and I am really impressed with the way this foundation wore throughout the day. I didn't find it started to come off or wear away on the skin. I think that's because it is such a thin consistency that I found it just kind of sat on my skin really nicely, and even touching my face, usually I get a little bit of patchiness, but with this foundation I didn't find that happened whatsoever. So I'm really impressed with the consistency of the foundation. The colour looks beautiful. I don't think it oxidized on my skin at all because it's still matching my neck really nicely. So all in all, I'm very happy with this foundation. I am usually more of a medium foundation kind of girl, but I am trying to get into more lighter coverage foundations, especially throughout the day, because I just find it sits a lot nicer on the skin and you're not wearing as much product, so your face doesn't feel like it's caked on with too much makeup. So I have been looking for a lighter coverage foundation, and I think this one is going to be my go-to at the moment. So all in all, I am a big fan of this foundation. I highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for something very lightweight and just gives a really nice, beautiful, natural look to the skin. If you do have dry skin, I think you will especially love this one. Being a water foundation, it just gives so much hydration to the skin. My skin didn't dry out throughout the day whatsoever, even though I did put some powder under the eyes and down the center of the face. I do find sometimes with more fuller coverage foundations I can get quite dry and patchy, especially around the nose, but I didn't find I had that at all with this foundation. I wouldn't recommend this for those of you who are wanting more of a fuller coverage foundation. I find that this would take a while to build up because of the consistency. It's a very lightweight, watery foundation, so if you're wanting something quite full coverage to cover really well on the skin, you might not like this foundation, and the same with the concealer as well. If you've got quite dark under eye circles, that concealer won't cover as well as some other concealers, just because it is such a lightweight formula as well. And also if you have extremely oily skin, you might not like this because it is got a lot of water in it and it's a very dewy, hydrating foundation. But for those of you who are looking for a new, very lightweight and natural looking foundation, I would recommend the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation and also the Rainforest of the Sea AQUACEALER Concealer. So that was my review, demo and first impression of the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave. I have plenty more videos to come shortly. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.